Welcome to Next to Madison, a podcast to help you live your best life. Welcome back to another episode of Next to Madison. I'm your host, Madison Malloy, and on today's episode, I am sitting down with master energy healer and fertility and longevity expert, Aleta St. James. This woman is fascinating. This interview is in different directions, but you are not going to want to miss a beat. We go from peptides, raising frequencies, living to 120. Her brother ran for governor of New York, Curtis. She has met aliens or experienced UFOs. She is fascinating. She is a very well-known master energy healer, had twins at 57, but she's going to tell us the story. You do not want to miss this interview. Take notes. It's amazing. It's fascinating. I'm still mind blown by it. So we'll be right back after this brief message with our guest on Next to Madison. Hi, it's your host, Madison Malloy. For those of you who don't know, I've written and created a powerful collection of books to help you build confidence, shift your mindset, and attract the life you truly want. From Time to Lighten the F Up to Affirm and Flourish, Color Your Way to Abundance, and more. These aren't just books, they're tools for transformation. Grab a copy now on Amazon or at madisonmalloy.com. Now back to the show. All right, we are back with our amazing guest with us again. As I said in the intro, we have got master energy healer and life coach specializing in fertility and longevity, Aleta St. James. Welcome to Next to Madison. How are you?
Oh my God, next to Madison. I am so thrilled to be here. I'm excited to do this with you. I feel like we're
Yes.
kindred souls. Madison, yes.
I love that. And I've been doing a lot of research on you, and you have such a fascinating story. I mean, you've been doing this type of work for decades. So I want you to
Mhm.
kind of start with a little bit of your backstory. Was there a pivotal moment in your life where you were like, something's got to switch? Because when you go into the healing space, I feel like it's because something has happened that we fixed ourselves,
Very true.
you
Very
know?
observant. But this is kind of what happened to me
Okay.
was when I was, you see, it usually runs in the family. My father was a healer and very psychic. They used him in World War II to go behind the lines to find the soldiers that were taken prisoner. So he had that within his energy. When I was born, he never said anything to us or to me. But when I was born and I was about 5 years old, I would find these little animals and I'd heal them, and the little birds would be in my room, and the cats and the dogs, they would all go heal, get healed, and then I'd let them go. So as time went on, like my cousin Jimmy Lonegro got me on stage when I was 6. So I had that whole theatrical thing.
Yeah.
And I wound up having the national drama championship of the entire United States. But I decided to go to school in London.
Okay.
And I went to the East 15 drama school in London. East 15 was Maggie Berry's, Oh, What a Lovely War, Victor Spinelli. It was like edgy. Now it's one of the top drama schools, but then it was really edgy. And I got accepted in. They only took like one or two Americans, and I was lucky to get accepted in. And I had the most wonderful time because we had Twiggy, we had the Rolling Stones, we had drama, we had theater, we had
Wow.
everything. However, what happens is someone's the detour that leads to the destination. The last year I was supposed to teach because I was a dancer as well,
Yeah.
movement. And Madison, the woman that ran the school, wanted somebody else to do it. And that was it. So I was stranded in England. I was eating dog biscuits. All right. And my ballet teacher, who was teaching at Covent Garden at the time, said, look, there is an audition for Commonwealth countries for hair at the Shaftesbury Theater. Why don't you do that? And what I did, Madison, was I thought, oh my God, this is it. America, hair. I'll sing Bill Bailey, right? Because I was in
Yeah.
drama school. I wasn't doing the cool music. So I go there and I took this darker makeup with me that I was doing this show in the Roundhouse where I had to be a South American. I just took it. You know how you have that intuitive thing? I know you know about that too when you're a performer.
Yeah.
And I got there and the stage manager she said, Love, I'm sorry. She said, we couldn't say this, but Commonwealth countries means women with dark options. And I went, oh my God, I have no money. Hair is from America. I got to do this. So I said, okay. I said, I'll be right back and listen to me sing. And if they don't like the way I sing, I'll leave. So I go into the bathroom, I put all this dark makeup on. I walk out and she looks at me, she goes, very interesting, Rob, very interesting. And then I got up and I sang Bill Bailey and I wound up in the lead in the Amsterdam production of Hair.
Oh,
So
what a wonderful
it
story.
was like amazing, right? Like Amsterdam, and I was like 21 years old.
Yeah.
So what happens then is that I go on a journey because it was the most amazing thing to be in Europe at that particular time. And I really wanted to see like who I was and how I could become the superstar, right? Come back to America. And I started to study. I studied, all sorts of modalities to get myself into myself other than show business. And look, Madison, you're as good as your last plie. One
Yeah.
minute you're the superstar, and the next minute you're zero.
Yeah.
So then you want to think, okay, how do I get past this so that it's not about my career, it's about myself?
Mm.
And so I started really amazingly learning how to drop into a sense of self esteem that had nothing to do with me performing through
Okay.
healing with light, bioenergetics, primal therapy, all those things that I studied when I came back to America as well.
Yeah.
Now, at 26 and 27, this is crazy.
Okay.
I got to direct star packages because I was connected, and I'm not going to go into my personal life,
Yeah.
but I, with some major stars, okay?
Okay.
And I had a gift. I had a gift. I could direct, and I still can direct now, right? I just knew how to stage because I was a dancer. I just knew how to direct because I had studied so much in England. It was just intuitive. And I did a major productions at 26 and 27 years old.
That's
I was
amazing.
directing. Then I was directing, like Dan Ariely, Joey Pantaleone, Roger Crawford, Pernell Roberts.
Yeah.
Now, except for Joey Pantaleone, most of them are gone. Okay. But my
Okay.
point was that I realized, you know what? I don't want to be in this neurotic kind of situation with show business where you really don't have any control over yourself. I'd rather
Yes.
heal performers. I'd rather make them feel good about themselves. And so I kind of made a transition. And as I was making that transition, I don't know if you remember the Guardian Angels, they're still here in
Yeah.
New York City. My
Yep.
brother's Curtis Lewa. I started the
Oh,
Guardian
I did
Angels
not
with
I did
him.
not put those together. Okay. Oh,
Yes,
gotcha.
there
I've
you
I've met
go.
him
I
a
was,
couple times on Sid Rosenberg's show over at
oh my God, I got
WABC.
the chills. I got the
Yeah.
chills.
Yeah.
Well, I helped him form the Guardian Angels. So, and I
Wow.
wrote a film script about the Guardian Angels at that particular
Okay.
time. And then I started going more into healing my fellow actors. And then they were saying, oh my God, Alita's like amazing. And then they were asking me to go to the theater in England and to Germany and Nuremberg and the opera houses there and work with them. And then before you know it, I was in Hawaii and Maui. I was starting to go all over the world healing. And then I took all my performance. I sang, I healed with my voice, I healed with movement. I got massive amounts of people to channel energy. And
Wow.
now I'm 78 years old. I had twins at 57. I decided, people kept on saying to me, Aleta, when are you going to have these kids? Because I always said, I'm going to have children. I see them, I feel them, they're around me, they're going to come in. And I was at 49. All my friends are going, now it's getting crazy, Aleta. But my grandmother had my mother at
Wow.
54. So I
What?
figured I had plenty of time. Yeah, because, those big Italian families, my mother was the
Mm-hmm.
last of 13. So they just had a birth every single year, one kid, another kid, another kid. And so I
Wow.
thought, I'm going to do this. And then I started my journey where I became the Indiana Jones of the soul because I had gotten to such a level of my own spirituality. I wanted to go to Peru into the jungles. Now people are
Yeah.
doing the ayahuasca thing. This is
Yep.
35 years ago, okay, with shamans going down the Amazon. with machine guns because it
Yeah.
was really dangerous then, right? But I
Right.
didn't care. I just wanted to study. And then I learned all about those kind of things. And then I went to India. In the southern India, they have all these fertility temples. And we went to 18 fertility temples within, I think, 8 days. It was crazy.
Wait, and how
I
old were
did,
you when you were going to these fertility temples? Is this when you were trying to have
well,
the kids in your 50s?
yeah, yeah, my
Okay.
50s. Right.
Okay, so
And I
now
was on the
you're I'm
top of,
ready to have
yeah,
the kids.
yeah, totally. But the thing is this, I had three miscarriages.
Okay.
And that's why I can really help women when they're going through this with fertility, because I know what it is. I
Yeah.
was trying to do it naturally and it wasn't happening. Then I said, okay, my I loved her. My fertility doctor, Dr. Jane Miller, said, Aleta, when you're ready, just tell me to get a donor egg. We'll do it. But if you want to keep doing this naturally, we'll do it into your 60s. She knew
So
she couldn't give,
so were
what?
they at that time, were they saying like, because of your age, we don't want to do this? Or were they
No,
totally like, as long as you're
Matt.
capable and healthy to carry it, you can carry it?
Yeah, but see, Madison, I didn't pick
Wow.
any of those doctors. I picked the
Mm,
doctors that were going, all right, we're on board. Because I didn't
smart.
go into the big machines. I didn't go into the big hospitals. I
Yeah.
did a concierge basically. I did
Okay.
Dr. Scher, who's like the top of his game in terms of immunology and why women don't get pregnant because you can get killer cells. There's something that happens in your body if you have an overactive immune system. The body thinks, oh, here's an embryo. That's a tumor. We're going to go after it. And that's what I had. So we had to
Oh,
handle that. Yeah. And Jane Miller basically said, if you have a womb, I will get you pregnant. And I wound up doing IVF with her. I said, what do I want to do? Have my own genetics, which are really great. Or do I
this
want to
was
have
in your
children?
50s that you started doing
Yeah.
IVF.
About,
Okay.
yeah. I was like 54. So I
Okay.
did one round of IVF that didn't work because I had cysts, in my uterus. Had to
Yeah.
take them out. They were on the outside, right? And then as soon as we did that, boom, I got pregnant. And so I had twins. And
That's
those twins, they
amazing.
would call the miracle twins. But you know what, Madison? With any naysayers, they would say to me, what are you going to look like, when you're in your 70s and they're in their 20s? This is, you're going to be decrepit and old. And I said, I'm going to look better then than I do now. And that's
They're going to
my
keep you young
philosophy.
and they
That's
give you
my,
that energy.
yes, right. And then you learn all this stuff about the modern longevity medicine that they have now, the peptides, the stem cells, all that kind of stuff. I'm right in there and I help people do that. I do longevity and ageless seminars down in Mexico where you can
Yeah.
get stem cells and you can really reverse your aging.
That's
Now, Madison, I don't
amazing.
know, it's all over the internet. It's all over America. It's like it's
The
an
peptides?
8.6 trillion dollar business. Peptides,
Peptides?
stem cell, yeah, peptides
Wow.
are huge right now. Everything together, the longevity thing is an 8.6 trillion dollar business.
I
The
believe it.
stem cells, there's a lot of doctors that are doing it undercover. Then you got the exosomes, and some of them say, "Oh, we have stem cells," but they don't. They have exosomes, and they put them together, and now it's huge. So you don't have to get
Wow.
decrepit. But the
No,
thing
I
is
I
this:
love that.
what?
Okay. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
The thing is this, Madison. I look the way I look, not because I do stem cells or peptides or, I'm very detoxing and all sorts of what's the next level in your body. It's because I'm channeling high frequency energy. And when I was like
Okay.
22, yeah, when I was 22, I went to an ashram in Los Angeles, a Muktananda ashram, and
Okay.
I saw this guru, a picture of this guru. And I said to one of the devotees, I said, how old is that guru? They said, oh, he's 800 years old.
I'm sorry.
He looked like he was 40.
What?
He looked like he was 40. They said he was 800. And I went,
He wasn't
oh my
alive
God.
though. Was he alive?
No, no,
Okay.
no. He was like in another dimension, but they took a picture of him. Looked like he was 40. His name is Babaji. And so
Baba
I was
G.
just kidding around. I said, I'm going to have to learn what he does. And they left. Now I find out that, when you're in a light body and energy, you can decide when you're going to reincarnate and come back. Now, whether you believe it or not, it doesn't matter. This is what this man does. He's a light body. Then now they're telling me he's 2,000 years old and he's up in the 12th dimension and he
Wait,
has so many followers. Yeah,
how do
he's a
you
light body.
hold on? Let's go to this subject 'cause I have so many questions right now.
Okay. Yeah.
How so you physically saw you were able to like meditate or go into a trance or do some sort of psychedelic where you
Yeah.
were able
Like,
to see him?
yeah. Now I did psychedelics. I'm not going to say I didn't. I did all the psychedelics
Trust me,
except
I believe in
Ibogaine.
that stuff. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so
But
once
I
you were
don't do
able
that
to
now.
see Baba G, his name?
I'm able to connect with him all the time. So when you
Wow.
meditate, like I
Okay.
meditate 3 to 4 hours every from
I'm
3 o'clock
taking
in the morning,
notes.
say fr- from about 3 o'clock in the morning to about 6. 3 o'clock, everything
Wait,
kind of turns on. I wake up.
you
Boing,
meditate for three
because
hours?
3 to 4 hours, yeah. All sorts of, yeah,
Wow.
because you want to keep your energy at a high level. That's been going on for about 9 weeks, 9 months. Sorry, not 9 weeks, 9 months, because everybody they're talking about the awakening on the planet right now.
Yes.
What's happening is that there are a lot of people that are elevating themselves. So about 9 months ago, this really started to happen for me, and every single night, I haven't missed a night.
So what
So
time are you
about
going
three
to bed?
o'clock, what time do I go to bed? Sometimes 10, sometimes 11.
So you're not getting much
You
sleep.
know, No, but you see, if you meditate and you're moving with the higher energy, you don't need a lot of sleep. You really don't. Remember Wayne Dyer?
Yes. I was a big fan of his.
Okay. Okay. So Wayne Dyer endorsed my book, Life Shift, Let Go and Live Your Dream, which is like the
Nice.
Bible of transformation. And I
Okay.
said to him, I said, Wayne, how much sleep do you get? Because, obviously you can't get 3 or 4 hours sleep. That's insane. Blah, blah, blah. And he said, about 3 or 4 hours sleep a night. I said, that's all I need. That's all I need too. That's only if you're channeling energy. If you're not channeling energy and you're nervous and you're worried and your subconscious
Hmm.
is bringing up all these negative energies,
Yeah.
you need to go to sleep. You really do. But when you're a spiritual energy healer, and now I call it the McDonald's of metaphysics, Madison. It's
Hmm.
like you can take a weekend course and then say you're an energy healer. People, if you say I'm an energy healer, people say, oh, do you do Reiki? I learned Reiki when I
Mm.
was 22 years old, when nobody knew about
Yeah.
Reiki. It was like,
Right.
Reiki what? You know,
Yeah.
I'm a second-degree master on that, but I've studied everything else besides that. So now you can become an energy healer on a weekend. You can become a life coach after a certain amount of time. But you got to do the work. It's like you got to do get your own process going so that you're elevating yourself. It's not just reading the books, because a lot of these younger souls on the planet, they've got all the information. They get on the Instagram, and they're just saying affirmations, and we're doing this and manifesting and all that. They don't
Yeah.
understand what it takes to really get into the subconscious, release the negative blocks and the mental blocks that keep us stuck. And how do you quantum shift, really quantum shift to a higher level? So I had the best time when I was
Wow.
in Las Vegas. The best time. I did something called, the equinox, the
Was this
wellness,
recent? You were recent in
yeah,
okay.
about a year and a half ago in Las Vegas on Tony Robbins' stage. He had the best
Okay.
stage there. Yay,
Yeah.
Tony. Anyway,
Yeah.
I had
His son was just on this podcast.
was he? Oh my
Yeah.
God. He's
It was
like,
great.
he just knocks the socks off of things. He just goes big all the time.
Yes.
I met him when he was first doing his, the walking on the fire, on the coals,
Yeah.
way back
Wow.
when. Yeah, and that's when I was with my brother. My brother had all the guardian angels walking on the coals.
Wow.
And yeah, we met Tony way back when, and I've seen him over the years.
Yeah.
But on that stage, I did this thing called chakra balance that I put together for Equinox, the exercise, the whole
Yep.
big conglomerate that they have now. I helped them
Y-
start their wellness center
Okay.
way back, when they first started. And
Wow.
I had like 350 people plus all, people on screens rocking to chakra balance where they're moving and they're getting all the energy out. And then I'm able to transmit energy from the higher levels, from the 12th dimension, when I hook in there, and I do when I'm on stage and when I'm healing in private sessions,
Yeah.
and activate people that are moving through their chakra balance so that I can heal people in massive groups as well as privately, where they shift their consciousness. It's not just an idea, it's an actual experience. And that's
That's
the thing that
insane.
yeah, because that's why I was here. I realized I
So you
never
were
thought I was
born
going to
with
get
this
old.
gift.
Yes. And I never thought I was going to get old. I never identified with aging. I just never did.
So do
And
you
that's a
believe
thing.
you believe
Oh,
so
go on,
so
yes.
what's your thoughts on death? I'm curious.
Okay. So when I was being interviewed after the babies were born, they said, well, what's going to happen? I said, I'm going to live to 120. Then I found that this one radio host said to me, oh my God, I'm in that club. I said, what? He said, yeah, there's a 120 club. I said, you're kidding me. No, it's in the Bible. All right.
What?
So yeah, there's look it up, Madison. There's a
What?
120 club. Yes, there is. There is. And
Okay.
then, okay, so this is the whole thing. If you want to oh, wait, hold on. There you go. The 120 club. Can you see it?
Wow. Yes, I can.
Yeah, there's an actual 120 club.
Okay, so you
So
say this, you meet this guy, and then what happens?
and then he said, there's a 120 club. And I said, great, that's in the Bible. So that's kind of in the energy field to live that long. The thing about death is I have transitioned many people through dying.
Okay.
I love the other dimensions. So when they make their transition and they let go of the body, that's the best thing that I like to lead them into letting go of the body here. The body doesn't usually want to let go. It will
Mm,
hold on. You can say grandpa's on the other side, grandpa's holding this for you. That doesn't matter. People will hold on. Once they start to see the light and they go through the tunnel and they see all their relatives, then all of a sudden they let go. So I know that when it's time for me to make my transition, hopefully I'm doing everything that I need to do to learn how to regenerate, to do all the best medical situations that I can to reverse aging. And then I'll get to a certain age. I would love to do what the Tibetans do when they're at the highly evolved state. They go
hmm.
sit on a rock and they go, okay, this is it. I'm going to go. And they just leave their body. And the body kind of, yes, that's
Wow.
what they do.
I
The
didn't
same
know
thing in
this.
India. Yes, now listen to this. In India, when I was in the light temple, that was
Okay.
all the way in southern India. We are talking way back, hundreds and thousands of years back in these temples, all right? They have a platform where a guru who's really highly evolved will stand there and all of a sudden decide, I'm going up. They go up, they become a light body, and that's it. You don't see them. They've transcended. The same kind of thing as they say about Jesus, he became
Yeah.
light. He
Yeah.
got out of the tomb. He was a light body. Well, now people are going to say, some of them can stone me to death. But when I was in Varanasi in southern India, which is the most holy city in the entire world, I was sitting meditating with maybe 3,000 gurus chanting while they were doing, they were burning bodies on the side, cremation, but they were chanting. And all of a sudden, I looked out and I saw like an apparition of Jesus. And I
Wow.
went, God, Jesus had to be studying in India. And sure enough, if you look at the Aquarian Gospels, they said he was in India and he was in Tibet and he was studying with Babaji. So that makes sense to me. I got the
Because
chills.
Baba G is
Yeah,
supposed to be over 2,000 years old.
right. And he's a light body now. So Jesus learned all this
Wow.
stuff when they couldn't find him. And he went to India and he went to Tibet and he went, God only knows where else. But he got this information and he came back. And that's why he was able to do miracles. I mean, he cured lepers. When I was in Varanasi, there were
Right. But he was
lepers
the
there.
son of God, so it was like miracles.
Right, but that's the whole thing. You hook into that divine energy.
Yeah.
When you can hook into that divine energy, which is the light, that's why they say, I am the light. That's what it represents. It's some people say it's the universe, some people say it's God, some people say it's Jesus or Buddha or all the deities in the Hindu tradition. Doesn't matter. This is a high frequency energy, and then when you channel that, that's when there's no impossible thing. I mean, when they said Jesus walked on water, I can believe that.
Yeah.
Jesus turned all the like water into wine. He
Yeah.
had what, the 12 loaves and fishes, and all of a sudden there was thousands, because he went beyond our physical limitation. Well, Buddha did crazy, way out expanded things. In the Hindu religion, there's loads of things like that from gurus. It's like loaded because they're in a higher dimension. So what I would like to do is be able to bring that into my physical body, help other people release the negative thing that's in their cells, bring the spiritual in, because I understand that piece. Like a lot of
Yeah.
spiritual healers don't. They
Okay.
understand meditation, they understand how to be in
Right.
the higher consciousness. They don't understand how to integrate it into the body. But
Mm.
because that's my mission, and I started out in show business with acting, and yourself, there's so many things that you do that you have to get into the core of yourself. Like, I
Yeah.
believe you're a comedian, correct? So
Doing
before you go on
more
stage, right?
speaking now,
Yeah.
but yes, did that for many, many years.
But the thing is, what that's like. You have to
Yeah.
be in a kind of like an altered state where
Hmm.
you go on and all of a sudden something takes over and you're just, you're on.
Yeah.
So the fact that you're speaking, that's the same thing. You've got to tune into something that's higher than yourself. So when you're a performer and you're a speaker, you kind of understand that
Hmm.
already.
Yeah.
But now when you can bring that into people that are more linear, they haven't gone the creative route, and then they start to experience what it's like to have that freedom of creativity, and then they're releasing all those negative belief systems in their actual cells. Then you take the precision medicine with the peptides and the stem cells, and then they match energetically with your cells. Then you have a whole physical body experience that
Wow.
makes a difference totally. But that's the name of the game. When they say body, mind, and spirit, you have to
Hmm.
know what you're doing to navigate people through that. That's like,
So,
that's the key.
so let's talk about peptides because they're all the rage. Everybody's talking about, but
Mhm.
there's a dark side of peptides, right? There's a lot of people that have died from these because you can go to
Mhm.
any little wellness clinic or go online and you can get these things and you don't know where they're coming from. They suggest get them at a compound pharmacy or go to a wellness center, and
Mm.
everybody's just stabbing themselves with all these peptides, not knowing. So, how do you safely know what's good for your body?
Well, you have to go to either a very highly known clinic that
Yeah.
is great with peptides, that does blood work on you, that can scan your body and say, okay, they have a scan, an MRI machine that can scan your body and say in 10 years you can have cancer, or in 10 years you can have, yeah,
Yeah. But the
rheumatoid
thing is,
arthritis.
I think it's amazing. But the thing is, the
Yeah.
majority of people can't afford it.
Yeah, but the peptides aren't that expensive. If you go to a
Okay.
good clinic, you
Yeah.
can get a
I'm
month's worth
talking
of
the
peptides.
MRI though.
Oh, yeah. Well, most probably a lot of people aren't going to be able to do that now.
Yes.
Who knows in 10 years? That might be, they were talking about a machine that can, it's called a body machine, that
Okay.
can, they have one of those that we know about, that can actually grow a limb.
That's
So that's a shock. No, it's a
wow.
shock. Right. Yeah. And then
Okay.
they're talking about, right, talking about the extraterrestrials that have been communicating with many scientists, etc. And there are things from other planets that are way more evolved than what we have on this planet. They just are. So in this, between
Wow.
2026, 2027, and going on, you're
Yeah.
going to find that more of this information about higher consciousness and the technology that they have in other galaxies is going to come through. It's just around. I mean, I went to Wyoming,
Yeah, I
and
was seeing,
those UFOs are all over, all
so
over.
like real UFOs, like in the sky.
We no, no, yeah, and they actually. Do you want to hear my UFO story, Madison?
I
You
feel like
ready?
we can't leave on that cliffhanger. I did now we have to, well, because let me say this one thing real quick. So I was
Yeah,
just doom scrolling on TikTok last night because there's nothing on that I
yeah,
wanted to watch, and I was had the Knicks game on in the
yeah,
background. And there was all these things where government leaders were having meetings with pastors, like a very important meeting saying this information is coming out, and people are like scared because I'm like a very like religious Christian. I'm now down in the Bible
yeah,
Belt. So people here
yeah.
are very like, don't go to psychics, don't go to this. They're very, but I believe in like God's kind of part of all of it, right? He's the creator. That's my thing.
Exactly.
So I
Right.
said, I'm not, but it was something that was like alarming that all this stuff is going to come out and is going to kind of like change certain things. I don't know, but they had an emergency meeting with a bunch of pastors. Did you hear about that?
That's interesting. No, but I know that it's coming out now. It was predicted that right around this time, more of this information was going to come out. This information has been around a very long time.
So why now?
People in the government, because, well, here we go. I'm going to go into astrology. All right.
Yes. Okay.
Astrologically, the way the planets are lined up right now in the Aries planetary configurations, Pluto and this and that, it's about the awakening of the earth, the awakening of the souls. So, sure, we can think that we're just Earth and here we are by ourselves, and there's nobody else in the galaxy that's, scooting around. And that's not true. All right,
Yeah.
there's other galaxies, there's other forms of life, and some of these beings and souls are tremendously evolved in terms of technology,
Wow.
in terms of how they are. So I was very lucky at a particular time. Oldham, the designer,
Who?
anyway, Todd Oldham, he's a
Okay.
wonderful designer in New York. All right, he comes from Texas.
Okay.
And there's a group of people that were going down to Wyoming to do a UFO kind of workshop. And I was in the middle of, doing videos and everything else. And my dear friend Jana said, "You gotta come. This is like amazing. This woman was abducted. She gives these workshops." And I'm saying, "This is ridiculous. I can't go down." Guess who went down? Okay.
Yeah.
So I go down, right? And the woman is great. They're very connected to her. Wherever she goes, you can see them in the sky. They follow her. So we're chanting and we're doing all sorts of things. And I swear with the chant, and it's Aum, AUM, you can see them. They go shh, 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 in the sky, and you're lying on the ground and you look all the way up, and you're in Wyoming, so it's vast.
Yes.
One of the nights, I thought, you know what? For me, this is silly because I want to have it. I don't want to just see them running around up in the sky. I want to meet them.
Oh,
So
jeez.
all of a sudden, when they have those egg faces, they have the big eyes and the white
And you
face.
guys
It's
were
like
not on
that.
any like psychedelics at this point.
No, 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 no.
No.
I wouldn't.
Okay.
I when I did psychedelic, hair, everybody did psychedelics, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I could
Yeah.
only do them like a half of the thing, and I did it for 3 times, and then I got it, and then that was it.
Okay.
So
So this is
anyway,
completely sober-minded seeing
this
this.
was
Okay.
this was me sober. I
Okay.
see this, and I thought, oh, I have to go to because they knock you out. I went, I have to go into my room, get knocked out, and all of a sudden, I'm seeing that the universe is expanding. Then my friend comes and
Wait,
says,
wait, wait,
"Quick,
hold on. What
there
do you
are
mean they knock you
what?
out? They not, what do you mean they
Well,
knock you out?
because the energy. Okay, so the energy is so strong for your physical body
From the
that if you
aliens.
want to go, yeah, because if you
Okay.
want to go into a trance, so that they can communicate to you, which a lot of them do, okay, you can get knocked out. Okay. And I
Okay.
and I'm used to going into trance, so it's not uncommon for me. Right.
Yeah.
So there I am. My friend comes in and says, "Oh my God, you've got to come with us. Get up, get up." They're on the top of the canyon. So we go in the car, and all of us, it must have been 5 cars. We go all the way up to the top of the canyon. And it's like encounters, what is it? Encounters of the seventh, third kind or something.
Yeah.
The Steve Spielberg movie. It was
Okay.
like that. It was like you were in a car park and the lights were going like so. And then I got called to go down into the canyon. And so I took the group into the canyon that was with me. And I said, okay, grab me, start chanting Aum, A-U-M. And I was in the center. And she was a little bit nervous about me being there and being in the canyon. She was on the top with her husband. And all of a sudden, I swear, do you know when you see the Egyptian thing where it's like a bowl and there's
Yeah.
an orb of light?
Yes.
That's what was there, like the orb of light. And then we're chanting, and I've never experienced anything like this. There was such a feeling of divine love that came through our bodies all the way down the cerebral spinal fluid and down into the earth. And I felt like you were part of the universe. And I kept on chanting and chanting and chanting. And all of a sudden, they they had their transmission and then they were gone. And then we went back up. And the next day, as we were getting out of the canyon going home, a whole fleet followed us out of the canyon. And what I really experienced, you know, when they talk about the
Wow.
oneness, we're in the oneness
Yes.
and there's God in the universe, I felt it. The whole thing opened up. And, you know, that was like the biggest gift they could give to me because it was almost like, okay, Alita, if you're going to do spiritual work, I want you to really experience what you're talking about. And it wasn't a drug. I've never experienced it on a drug like that.
So,
It
did you
was real.
physically see them, like the little green Martian men that people have
No, no,
painted
no,
a
no,
picture
no,
about?
no,
Okay.
no Martians, no.
Okay.
Just a huge, like, you know how you see the flying saucers? It's like
Yes.
a block. It's big. And they were way, way above. And then this energy came down, and then the energy went right into the physical body, like
So,
that.
do you
And
think
what,
that people in our government, people in like the CIA,
mm,
have actually sat down with these beings from other
well,
dimensions and galaxies in person
yeah,
in the past?
they say they have. They say
A-
they have.
And do you believe them?
And you can hear that from different people. Absolutely.
Okay.
You know, if you get into UFO, there are people that are just into the UFO thing. They've written books about it. They go to Sedona. There's a lot of UFOs there.
Yeah.
When I'm in Mexico, when I go to the top of the mountain there, I know they're around and they'll say things like that. You know?
Okay.
So my point is they're around, but are they talking to certain people, officials here? Yes, I know they are. But
So, but now they want to release this information because they feel that the
right,
world is ready to accept it.
right. And there's going to be a lot of people that aren't. But the people that are, it's like, okay, it's another galaxy, it's another dimension. They're different souls. They say they're the good ones, you know, the beings of light that are great. And then there's the grays, and the grays are negative.
So it's interesting
You also, yeah,
because in the Christian religion, which I am,
mhm, yeah,
when so the rapture, right? The
right.
revelation,
I understand
Jesus
because I'm
returns.
Catholic and Christian,
Yeah.
and I understand
So
that. Yeah,
a lot of people are speculating that they're now releasing all this alien information. So when the rapture does happen and all these Christian believers go, they're going to
yeah.
blame it on the aliens. That's just a theory that's like a rumor.
Uh,
Have you heard that?
rather, no, I haven't heard that,
Rather than
but
Jesus
it
taking
makes,
them home.
yeah. Well, I think Jesus's energy is amazing. I just
Yeah.
do. You know, it's
Yeah.
like when I pray, I bring in Jesus and Saint Germain. You know,
Yeah.
I do. I can hook into that. Okay. So when the rapture is basically like you're ascending, and that's what they call in terms of the ascension.
Okay.
It's not the aliens. No, the
But they were,
aliens are a
that's what
part.
they're saying. The
Yeah,
aliens aren't going to do it, but they were saying how to explain to the people that are left behind where these
yeah.
other people disappeared to, that they would blame it on the aliens. And again, there's no
I
fact
haven't
behind
heard.
this.
Yeah,
This is just
yeah,
things I've seen on
yeah,
podcast or TikTok when I can't sleep.
yeah. Right, right. But no, Madison, I don't think it's the aliens that are, I think that the
So,
beings that the souls are going to ascend.
so
They're going
what
to
do
go
you
into that
think?
other dimension.
So, what do you think, in your personal opinion,
Yeah.
us humans are going to learn from these aliens?
Well,
Because
a
they're
lot of them
evolved.
have, many of them are evolved. The ones that
Yeah.
are trying to come down and help us, that don't
Yeah.
want to see the earth blow up, they're definitely evolved. So
Okay.
they're, look at the AI. Look at what's happening
It's
with AI.
insane. Yeah.
Right. That's it, that's from another dimension. It's blowing up and we're right in there. So I would feel and think and kind of know that a lot of the technology that they have is like that. It's
Yeah.
definitely like that. And I think people are channeling those higher energies, that are going to help mankind. They want to
Yeah.
help mankind. They're around to help mankind. And you say, why? Because they see the universe as a whole and they want us to evolve as, the earth. And they're very interested in that. And so, but I'm
So
sure they're also doing other things in their life, you know,
that's
other than just hang around earth, you know.
right. So do you believe, like a lot of people do, that the earth will end at some point? The earth will end, or we will end, like the end of the world,
Um,
and that's when we
you
maybe
know,
go
I
on to their planet. I don't, or into go to heaven,
Well, I
whatever.
think that this is what I think is going to happen,
Okay.
just intuitively and from what I've been, is that we can be going on to other planets. What we're hoping, and the aliens, and the higher consciousness, is that we don't have to blow ourselves up, that we can
Yeah, that'd be
evolve.
nice.
You see, okay, so there's an idea like when we are in another dimension and we've died and we don't have a body,
Okay.
there's things that we don't have to deal with. We don't have to deal with feeling abandoned or rejected or set,
Yeah.
because you don't have a body.
Yes.
You don't have an emotional body or mental body. You're
Okay.
spiritual, you're spirit, okay? And there's schools of learning as you're out of body also, and you can come back into body to evolve and to really feel like Christ consciousness is within inside me, divinity, God, the universe, whatever you want to say, is inside of me as a human being.
Okay.
That's what is a really big evolution. So hopefully it won't necessarily be an end. It'll be an awakening and an expansion. If you go to other planets and you say, oh my God, this planet is like amazing, I'd rather live here, you might have the opportunity to do that. I think this planet is amazing and beautiful. I mean, look at what we have.
I agree.
Oceans, if
It's
we
all we
don't destroy
know.
them, right?
Yeah.
So if we're using our spiritual beings, if we're spiritual beings having a physical, this is a beautiful planet to have that.
Hmm.
So if as we evolve and do that, there's no reason why we should destroy ourselves. If we have that dark part, which we have the light and the dark, the angels and the devils. In Jung, they say the shadow and the
Yeah.
light,
Yeah.
but it depends on, we all have free choice. So hopefully, even though there's a lot of heavy duty stuff going on now with the war and etc., it's supposed to create a big change and an evolution in terms of how we treat people, how we do our business, what we do with our money.
Okay.
More people are working together to help each other rather than, being so materialistic because
Yeah.
of the situation that's going on. So I'm hoping that that is the case. Can I predict
Yeah.
it?
That'd be a beautiful
No.
world.
Yeah,
So,
that's what I'm holding in my vision.
so here's what's interesting. Let's go back to the 120 Club. I
Right.
have zero desire to live to 120. I always joke when they can't stick my face with Botox, take me out. I'm
I'm
good.
out. I'm out.
Because I believe in
Yeah.
the next, heaven is the next
Oh
round.
yeah.
So,
Excellent.
and it's better there. So here's my school. So what is the desire to live to 120? Because I feel like because you want to live to 120 and you're 78, you see something that most human beings don't.
Well, because I've had a very interesting life. Like I haven't been
Hmm.
married yet. So I figured by the time I'm 80, I'll get married. Right.
Are you
So I
dating
have a
anyone
different
now?
timeline. Well, what do you think, Madison? Maybe more than one. All right.
Hey, I like
Maybe,
it.
I
I need
mean,
to learn
Madison,
something
think
from
about
you.
this. right. Think about this. Cher, her guy's what? 37, 47? No, 37, I heard, right?
Yes. And she's like
Right.
what, 78 too?
She's 1 year older than I am. So yeah, she's 79.
Oh, so
Okay. Then, of course,
okay.
you have Madonna, and I think he's 27. So, in other words, women, yeah,
I love this.
men that are usually 38, 39 are now really liking women that are in their 70s, 60s, and 70s, believe it or not. In
Really?
Argentina, yeah, in Argentina, I saw the other day, there's two women there that are fascinating. I'm going to meet them. One is in her 83. She looks very young. She looks like you and me,
Okay.
83. There's another one that's 100.
Wow.
And it's not, yeah, and she looks young. She doesn't look like, people say, oh, I have this energy and I'm running and I'm doing my thing, and they look decrepit. She looks young. So in Argentina, it's not crazy for a woman like Rafaela. She was in her 70s when she passed away. She had a man like her husband who was, I believe, I don't know, in his 40s. So you see, things are changing.
It's amazing.
And women, if you're excited about life, why
Yeah.
not? I mean, look, most men,
It's like vibrant.
it killed me, Madison, when I looked at one man. I lived with like two celebrities,
Okay.
and somebody said, "Do you know blah blah died?" And I went, "Oh my God, you're kidding." No. And then I looked at every single man that I lived with, and they were all gone. So my friend was kidding me around. She's in her 50s. She said, "You got to hang out with 40-year-olds, Aleta. This is going to 120. This is going to be nobody left." It's really
That's
true.
true.
That's the problem. That's a problem. But because I've done a lot in my life and there's so much more for me to live, I can really help people. I can help
Hmm.
them evolve. I feel like I have a mission. I have a lot
Yeah.
of different things in my life that I still want to do. My kids are now 21. I never wanted to be a grandmother. God bless the women that do, or
Yeah.
grandfathers. But I want to heal people. I want to still
It's
travel. I want to
amazing.
go into space. Yeah, I want to be on one of the planets and see what's going on there. And when it's time for me to go, I'm going to sit on a rock and say, okay, Jesus, take me,
Yeah.
like that.
So
And just
you
say yes.
really are, yeah. So you just want to just keep leveling your consciousness and your frequency
Yeah.
until
Yeah. And
you've
help
reached
people
it.
get there.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Until
So
that's
let's
like, I
talk
know
about
my
that.
mission's over.
So
Right.
let's talk about that. For the people that are listening, what are some
Hmm.
steps that they can do today
Hmm.
that can start helping them raise their frequency?
Well, the most important thing is that you don't ever get yourself stuck in a box.
Okay.
You get to a certain age, and there's an emotional thing that happens where you can decide to check out or check up, you know. And if you say,
Okay.
okay, I really want to live, if I've had rejection going on in my life and I feel bad about myself, I feel like I haven't really done what I needed to do, you need to do exercises, and some of them are on my YouTube channel, meditations where you can breathe into it, see what it is, and actually release it and move into what else is possible. So instead of feeling like you failed or negating or that imposter syndrome that many, many successful people have,
Yeah.
you really get to the core of who you are and you move into your own sense of spirituality. So you feel like I'm a spiritual being having a physical experience. And then you start moving into what gives me joy and how do I work with myself in that way so I'm not negating myself or I'm going back into my family
Right.
history. Like I do a lot with people, like I work with performers and people that really want to expand in their life. And so often what keeps the level like so, even though they're out there, they're successful, but
Okay.
they still holding themselves back because of their family, because of the whole
Oh,
ancient history. It bleeds right through there. So what you want to do is find somebody
interesting.
that's a teacher or a healer or a therapist that can get in there and go, what else is possible in your life in terms of more joy, more prosperity, more love, more appreciation. I often say, I totally, I'm so thankful and grateful that I am now in this beautiful apartment, that I have these
So
beautiful
language is
children.
key. Yeah.
And happy and grateful gratitude is a key.
Yep.
And many times I'm working with people privately or in seminars or in groups where you have to get to the soul of the person and really get how amazing is this life and how amazing am I in this life, and start from there. And when you do, and it's not just talking about that, it's really feeling that,
Yeah.
because what they found in terms of manifesting, it's not the vision, it's the feeling as if you've already achieved it. It's called the law
Yes.
of assumption. The law of assumption. Like, I know that a lot of the work that I'm going to be doing is globally now. And because I was in England at that certain wonderful time in my life, I'm being called back to England with this whole fertility IVF Babel situation to help women that are having a hard time getting pregnant now in their 20s and 30s. You can believe
Yes.
that.
I know.
There's an epidemic, not only in their 40s and 50s, no, 20s and 30s.
Yeah.
Help them find modalities. What's emotionally blocking them from getting pregnant? I'll have a woman that comes to see me. She might have had 12 IVFs. That's over $100,000.
Yeah.
She thinks she wants to be pregnant. I put my hands on that area of the body and they'll say, oh my God, there's fear about getting pregnant. And a lot of times it's financial. They don't feel like their
Hmm.
partner's going to stay with them, the woman, or they had a very difficult mother and they're afraid they're going to become that. So they block it emotionally. As soon as I can release that, get them with these doctors that can really find out what's not happening in their body that's creating, infertility, and really work with them on that. It's a high level doctor. It can't just be this
Yeah.
mill. And,
Right.
a lot of times, and it breaks my heart, these doctors will say, well, we'll just try it again. We'll just try it again. We'll just try it again.
And it's
When
so
they're
much
not
money and
taking the blood.
exhaustion.
Oh, yes, it's horrible. You can't. When I went through it, it was like, you can't control it. You don't know what's going to happen. You can do everything right. You can be in alignment. You can pray. You can do whatever. If that baby is not going to stay, it's not going to stay. So what you want to do is give yourself the edge. You want to find out your blood work. You want to find out, do I have any immune situation going on where I'm going
Yeah.
after the embryos? Look, and do you know that 50% now of infertility is coming from the men, and they do not want to get tested. Yes.
Yeah. And I've
When a
also
woman comes
heard
to
that
me,
the sperm quality, like they say, like, oh, men can have babies into their 80s, but most of the birth defects are being caused by the men. It's not the women.
exactly. So they have to get tested. And
Yeah.
that's because of the environment and everything that's happening and the stress level and things of that nature. But all that, I want to give women the edge so that they're not going through this, and the heartbreak, and talk about breaking up relationships and marriages.
Yeah.
After a while, a guy starts to feel like he's just a sperm donor.
Of
That's it.
course. Right.
You have like 10 minutes, you have one day at this particular time for 2 days, and the guy
Yeah.
has to reform. It's like, and that starts to go, they start to get resentful and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And when a woman wants to have a baby, that's it. She's got baby vision, And I
Yeah.
always kid with men. I said, if you had a, if you had to carry babies or go through this fertility thing, there would be no children on the planet. It's women that can do it,
Hmm.
because we'll do whatever we have to do, go back in there. But I want them to go back in there with the edge. I want them to go back in there. And if it's really, give them 100% of what's going to make them successful in having this baby that they feel like they want to have. Often I
Yeah.
felt my two children around me all the time, while I was going through this process.
Really?
So,
So are
yeah,
they, did you know, like, did you feel like it was gonna, what do you have? Two boys, two girls?
no, a boy and a girl.
A boy and a
And
girl.
I
Okay.
had a boy and a girl. I had a boy doll and a girl doll near in my meditation stand. And
So
all the
that's what
women
you
that I helped get
wanted.
pregnant. Yep, I wanted a boy and a girl.
Wow.
I
That's
got a boy and a girl.
amazing. And are they
Yeah.
as uh high frequency as you are?
In a lot of ways, yes, they are
Okay.
in their own ways. But I don't, like my son will say, "Mommy, maybe I'll become an energy healer like you are." Then I said, "Okay, you have to study." But then he's interested in trains and everything else. And my
Yeah.
daughter's doing theater.
Okay.
in Massachusetts. So I want them to do their own thing
Yeah. No,
like
I
that.
like that. That's
But
the
they're
best
around
way.
it. Yeah, they're around it all the time,
And they grew up
you
with
know.
it. And so
Hmm.
did they ever ask questions when they were younger? Like, why did you have us so much older than the rest of our friends' moms?
No.
That's great.
They never did because I was always with them. I
But
was always doing their
you're
things.
giving me hope because I had my eggs frozen when I was
Okay.
37. So 6 years ago.
Okay. Hmm.
And they're stored. But I only got seven. Seven healthy, mature eggs. They got a bunch, but they only saved the ones that were like viable.
Yeah, we're really good.
So I
Right.
didn't want to go through it again because it was really hard on my body and I suffered enormous depression to where keep me
Oh
away from the
yeah.
windows. Okay. It was that type
Yeah,
of
right.
thing. And the
Yeah.
fertility center was very supportive. But I felt a pain and I'd suffered depression in my life and I felt a
Hmm.
pain that I'd never felt before. And so I thought I don't want to go through that again.
Mm.
So I said, if it's meant to be, it'll be natural or maybe it's not in God's plan for me. I don't know. But, and then I came down and, I was dating somebody and I like had hope that it could work out and it
Hmm.
didn't, which, that's a different story. But at 43, you start to think like, well, maybe it's just not in my cards. Maybe this just really isn't what I want, but I obviously want to meet somebody and like get married and do it the right
Yeah.
way. So you're giving me like a
Yeah.
lot of a lot of hope.
Oh yeah,
So I'm not.
Madison, I've helped women get pregnant naturally up to about 44. And then after that, it's been donor egg. But 40, in your 40s, you're young. You want to get a mate, a man who's at your same frequency of spirituality, emotional intelligence,
Yes,
lets
that's
you be
that's
free.
the challenge.
Yeah, I know. But I can teach you how to bring that in.
I would love that because
You can, you see, because it's a
yeah,
frequency. Think about a spiritual frequency, like when you connect to Jesus, you're in a
yeah,
frequency, right?
yeah,
You want to be in a frequency, and I work with women like this all the time, and men too, and they bring in like a soulmate, somebody that's like their counterpart, because you want to be in that frequency. Like I am bringing in a man that matches my intelligence, my spirituality, wants to really connect with me, and has worked on himself. That's really
yes,
important. Even,
yes,
there are men that they can go to church. They don't have to necessarily go to therapy or whatever. They have some kind of spiritual outlet. They feel like they're connected to something bigger, and they're
yes.
givers. They
Hmm.
they want to connect. They're not like solo guys. Like, well, okay, I'll connect with you, and then I want to disconnect and think about myself. Right? They
Yeah,
want to connect, and they want the feminine energy. And when they really appreciate that, and you appreciate their masculine, then there's a bond. And then from there, once you have a child from that bond, because you can bring that into your life,
okay.
then sure, then he'll donate his sperm and you put the egg and the sperm in the petri dish, and then we'll put energy. I used to go into the fertility clinics. There was one,
It's
and
amazing.
put my hands in, yeah, put my hands on the petri dish, to make sure they come together, sperm and egg, and
Yeah,
it worked. Yeah,
that's
it worked. So
amazing.
we stay connected, and this can happen for you. You're still very young.
Oh, well,
You are.
thank you. I love it. So before
Yeah.
we wrap up, I want to get back to the raising the frequency. So exercise,
Mm,
meditation, watching your language, having immense gratitude,
right.
and also
And
like
and
not
having
just saying it, but feeling it as if it's already happened, the law of assumption.
right, right. And if you have resentment and anger and stuff like that, you need to process it and get over it. You need to
Yes.
be in the present, be here now, because that's in the past. You be here now and you start imagining having things where people are supportive of you and you're supportive of them, and your life is full of joy. If your life is full of joy and gratitude, you have no time to be
Hmm.
angry and resentful over anything. It
Amen.
doesn't exist in your reality.
Yeah.
That's what keeps you young, and that's what keeps you expansive. That's what keeps you happy. My grandmother, she came from Italy, right? 13 children. She came from a very wealthy family. She married the poorest guy in the town, right?
Okay.
So she went from, riches to 13 kids in, the poorest part of
Riches
the
to
town. Anyway,
rags.
She said, figure am I. If you have a piece of bread and you think it's steak, it's steak. And that was like, really, Grandma? Yeah. So if you feel you're excited about your life, even if you're not flying private all over the world or this or that or whatever, you're grateful for what you have, then life is beautiful. And
Yeah.
that's the most important thing. And that's what keeps you young. And that's what will keep you healthy. Because when you get sick, there's 90% an emotional component to that sickness. So that's why
Yeah.
when I work with people, I release the negative energy and then bring in the things that help them get better with holistic, help as
Yeah.
well as regular medical help. You
It's
need to have
amazing.
a combination of all of it. You really do. And as you're getting older, I mean, I'm doing everything, but my joints, I have to deal with that. I have to deal with, detoxing because of all this stuff in this whole world. It
Yeah.
doesn't end. It doesn't. But, you're happy doing it.
Yeah,
Why
because you
not?
just
If
have
you have a
such
body,
a great spirit of life. So when you is there like a tea or a product you'd recommend to help people detox from all the environmental pollutions?
there's so many things to do that. I usually do IVs like methylene blue,
Okay.
Humidin, and I do IVs with that.
Okay.
I also, there's a lot of inflammatory when it takes away inflammation,
Yeah.
turmeric,
Yeah.
Humidin, things of that nature. All your supplements that are really helping you. You need to have your fish oils. You need to have your bees.
Yes.
NAD right now is really, really popular and it's very, very good. Even there's a little controversy, but I find it really great.
Okay.
Some people love to do, colonics because they keep themselves, moving and clean like
Yeah.
once a
Yeah.
month or something of that nature, because the gut and the brain are very much connected.
Mm.
The peptides are so important for your brain, for your heart, for your joints, for the muscle tone. People are using them to lose weight. It's
Yeah.
really amazing going on, but you have to go to a good practitioner. You have to go to an accredited, you know, chemistry, whatever they have, whatever
Compounding
they call it.
pharmacies, I think they're called. Yeah.
That's it, counting pharmacy. And, that'll take you to the next level.
Yeah.
You
So
don't have to.
what is your favorite peptide? Because I keep hearing about BP157 and then I keep hearing about the GHCKU, the glow stack. What do you
Yeah,
think?
the GHCKU. I like that one.
You do.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
And
So,
I'm because I feel energized with it.
okay. So people are like, do you put it on topically or is it better to inject it? This is the
No, no, I
whole
inject everything
you inject.
because
So
I went to yeah.
how many shots are you taking a day?
I do three peptides. All right. So I do
Oh,
three. They're
yeah.
very teeny. Oh, you only use like a little milligram. That's
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
Use it from a diabetic needle. So
Yeah.
it's 2 seconds. That's all it
Yeah.
is, and it goes to your body, and then it gets the cells to regenerate. That's the really good thing. You're regenerating your cells.
So you noticed a difference with that one for sure.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. And believe it or not, B12 shots, they're really good.
I've done
You know,
those. Yeah.
and then, vitamin D, for instance, we're all low on vitamin D.
I
So you
take that
need,
every day.
yeah, and you need vitamin K with it so that it metabolizes itself. And then, of course, your B vitamins and your minerals are very, very, very important to your body. Very, very important.
Yeah, okay, so that's important I think that people hear because the D3, so you shouldn't just go to the vitamin store and grab vitamin D3. It's really
Yeah,
important
but you
that it's
want
taken with
you want
K2.
it exactly. You got to do it with vitamin K so
So
that it
it's not so
assimilates.
people that are taking just vitamin D3, they're not getting the true value and absorption that they actually shit. No wonder we're
Yeah,
all
no,
more
I know.
deficient.
No, no, I know. I know.
Oh, well, thank you
But
for
once you
sharing that.
understand that,
Amazon,
you
here I
know,
come.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. No, it's really, really important. It's important. And if you take stem cells or peptides and you're not detoxing, your body's like a mess because
Yeah.
you're eating sugar, you're
Hmm.
eating, heavy carbohydrates, a lot of, fatty foods that aren't the good fats. It's not going to work as well. It just isn't. If
Yeah.
you're taking sodas, if you're drinking, a lot, there's times when it's important. You want to go out socially,
Yeah, of course.
but you want to do a moderation of everything. If you're taking drugs and smoking, it's not going to work so well. But if
Yes.
you moderation, you don't want to be like living, an austere life. But if you do
Yeah,
things in moderation and you put this, the supplements and the good food and the high vibe thinking and the spirituality, you got the whole package. And then you bring in a mate that's like that. That's,
I love that.
expecting that to yourself. So
Yeah,
why not? My
I
whole
love
thing
it.
is why not? Yeah.
Why not? Why not? Life is possible as long as your mindset is set out to do it. Okay, you've been fascinating. I could talk to you for like 5 hours, but we've got to
Right.
wrap up. But we will have you back on the
Mhm.
podcast because there's so much more I want to talk about. I think we're going to have you back on after we get all this alien release stuff because I really want to dive into that
Yes,
more then.
that's
But
really
tell
fun.
people where they can follow you, where they can find you, so they can work with you, learn from you, all that good stuff.
So I have the Instagram, Aleta, and there's like a line underscore St.
Yep.
James.
Okay.
Then there's my email, right, which is Aleta at Aleta, STJAMES.com. And then you can call my office at 646-468-1137. And one of my assistants will help you. And many times you'll get a 10-minute consultation from my assistant in terms of your private session. And
Okay.
then YouTube, look for me, Aleta St. James on YouTube. There's a lot of free meditations,
Love it.
and you're going to love them. It's like turning fear into power.
Yeah,
It's things that you really, really need. And so I want to be as service to as many people as I possibly can.
I love
So
that. That's amazing. And then
things to do
what is your website? Because you got a very fascinating website.
is that my website is,
I think
pardon me?
It's Aleta St.
Yes,
James.com.
that's
Yeah. So you guys check out her website, check out her YouTube, check out her Instagram. This woman's fascinating. I learned so much. I knew she was fascinating before, but there was like so many little nuggets that like kept creeping up. I'm like, you're like Curtis Silva's
Sliwa.
Sliwa's sister. You want to live till 120. You've experienced aliens. You had babies at 57. I mean, you are the most fascinating person. I just love this conversation. And I know that our audience probably resonated with it too. So thank you so, so much for taking the time
Well, I
to
love speaking
be
to you,
on here.
Madison. You've been wonderful. And I know our
Thank
relationship is
you.
going to go on.
I love that. I love that. So thank you. And thank you to everybody listening, wherever you may be. We will see you next time to find out who's next.
Hey, your host here, Madison Malloy. Please make sure to subscribe to the show on all podcast platforms and please rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify. Also, if you have any questions or comments, you can email us at contact@nexttomadison.com. I thank you again for listening. Bye.